Welcome, boys.
Thanks for having us.
No worries. I'm a bit nervous. I've never done this sort of setup, and I feel severely underdressed. You guys are looking droopy and very handsome. Do you mind introducing yourself?
You first.
Okay. My name's Quan, but I also go by Jason Yen. I'm a musician, audio producer, and I have a day job in Melbourne looking to explode, something like that. Yeah.
Succinct. I'm Felix Wilkins. I'm a filmmaker, director, editor. I run a company called Endeavours Films, and we make music videos, documentaries, short films, some goofy, some serious. And I've been working with this guy a fair bit recently.
I'm Jaden, and no, it feels like an Alcoholics Anonymous. So boys, thanks for joining me in the room. I think, we've sort of been in chats, Quan, about teeing up another time. I feel like the last time that we chatted, you were sort of getting into the industry and the music space, which is incredible. And now you've brought a creative director along with you. And thank you very much for joining us. Boys, the creative pathway, has that always been, I guess, something that's been on your radar? What do we think about it?
I think for me, it's always something that I thought about, but I just never really fully realized it and was like kind of scared to take that first step. I believe like you sort of brought it up as well, like in one of your reels or one of your podcasts. And it was just like that, taking that first step sort of thing that was always on my radar for a while. And then I think last year was like the turning point. I'm like, I want to get these songs out here and I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah. I wanted to be a footy player when I was a kid, and then I grew up to be like 5'8". So that was not really an option for me. I'm not good at math, I'm not good at science. I don't know much about history. This was always kind of the thing. I don't think there was any other option for this guy.
Fair enough. Let's expand on those 2 points. I think it's always interesting talking to creatives about how they've uncovered their passion and their wanting or their willingness to pursue it full on. I think the idea of feeling scared is so incredibly relatable. I think we grow up in school and you sort of pigeonhole yourself into the idea of going into particular subjects or sport as well, and then it's like if those don't work, it's like, oh well, fuck, like I got to do a creative endeavor. So is that something that you both experienced?
I think for me, it was like a sort of dissatisfaction with that sort of like pigeonhole, as you were saying. And I think for me, it's like I've always enjoyed sort of the creative side. I used to have like this sort of daydream where I'm just like, I don't know, just pulling up in, I don't know, like a vintage Mercedes or something, and then pull up to this restaurant and then everyone knows who I am. I know the chef, something like that. And it sounds a bit narcissistic, but like, I think for me, it's the only way that I realized that, like I could sort of reach that was kind of just like through a creative endeavor. So I think like, I just really didn't like the look of other options for the moment.
We could get really real really quickly if you want.
Absolutely,
like
that's what it's about.
Into the podcast.
That's what it's about, mate.
I think I find it easier to like connect with people through films than like everyday life. Right, that's like juicy right off the bat. So I think early on I watched like stuff like Gremlins with my mum, and then like old films like Lawrence of Arabia and Bicycle Thieves with my dad. And I kind of saw them in like a different light through like watching it through their eyes, and they get really excited and they'd be like, you haven't seen Temple of Doom? Oh, we got to watch Temple of Doom. And it was like this moment where I'm like, oh, I kind of get you by watching this. And then like, I don't know, the idea of like fostering a connection through that is kind of sweet, like creating this feeling that kind of exists for the audience. But then like that was, who did that? Like there was a bit of so someone was crazy enough to think of Gremlins. Who was like the sick bastard that did that? And they got paid for it? That's like an option? So that kind of like set a fire in my head when I realized that's like an option. It's not a realistic option, but you could do that with your life.
100%. One thing that I always reflect back on now that I'm like getting paid for shoots and just doing something that I enjoy doing is a podcast that I did with Todd Morgan. And he said, who makes the Chupa Chup sticks? Like who makes the chewing gum wrappers for Extra Gum? Like that's a job that someone gets paid to do that. Yeah. So what is the ceiling really? If someone's getting paid to make that, something that you throw away in the bin or something that you just don't even consider to be that useful, someone's getting paid for that. So I think the options to grow in any space is endless. Like there's always going to be a job for something. There's always going to be a market for something, which is incredible. And to piece together that idea of like storytelling and connecting with people as well, I think films and just the creative outlet is so powerful because it's genuine. Like there's genuine stories behind that. It's not like what maths problem am I solving, or how good can I handball or kick a ball, that sort of thing. Like yes, there's stories behind that as well, but that's what people get connected about. It's not like, oh, you're an incredible. I don't know. I don't know if you get where I'm coming from, but I think
there's not much of an emotional connection to E equals MC squared. I mean, the first guy probably would have had like a weeping in the bathtub, like eureka moment, but like, I think even with sport, actually, I think there is an emotional connection to that too, right?
100%.
I support Manchester United. Sorry, everybody. We won the FA Cup yesterday. I cried for the first time in like 2 months because
actually, I do take that back. I feel like so I just finished watching the footy as well, and Hawthorn just won. Go Hawks! And I think it sets you up for the week. Like if we lose and we play like shit, I'll feel like ass for the rest of the week until the next game.
On Monday as well. And it's like, oh my god, you have to carry that loss on like the worst day of the week.
Literally. So Quan, you are currently working 9 to 5 as well. What's that been like?
It's been interesting. It's not too much of a point of friction for me at the moment, but like I do sometimes take a step back and I look at it and it's like, I do feel a little bit conflicted. I won't talk too much shit about the company because I genuinely like it. But I feel like, it's not me. Like it's like a very corporate, very salesy role, and it's been fun. It's been good, like good benefits, but I just feel like at its core, it's not really who I am. For me, I think like it's sort of a means to an end at the moment. I'm in like a good place in life where I can sort of like pursue these interests, and then kind of just like set myself up and sort of have that backup plan. I don't like the idea of it being a backup plan. It just sounds like, it's like, this thing doesn't work out, I'll just go back to my job and whatnot. But, like sometimes you got to take the realistic view on life.
Yeah, the realistic view. I think, there's such a dilemma. It's like obviously a backup plan, but you're also considering that as an option. Whereas I think there's something so admirable in being able to just go like all in as well. Because if you go all in for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, which you're meant to be working anyway, like how could you not succeed? Like how could you not taste some sort of success? The idea of like not being who you are or not feeling that you resonate with it, and I think we can draw back on the subjects as well. What's that feeling like? Can you put words to it?
Ooh, it is a tough one. I think it feels like a bit hazy to me. It's like, again, I'll touch on that thing where it's like I'm happy with where I am at the moment, but I could be happier, like content at the moment. But it's sort of like reaching that sort of idea. I think I had to talk to my girlfriend about this, and like at the moment, a lot of people have sort of like life goals, but they're in the kind of like the quote unquote like shit stage where everything's only like starting to pick up. Like they've only got like entry level jobs when they want to be like directors in like a big company or something like that. So I feel like at the moment, I'm in sort of that era of my life, I guess, so to speak.
Eating shit phase.
Yeah,
such
exactly.
A good one. I think you learn a lot about yourself when you're in that phase. Right?
I think so, yeah.
What about you, Felix?
I think I often say this to Quan and like people who know me, like I don't really do things in halves because life is too short. And also like having 1 foot in and 1 foot out doesn't really feel right to me. Like if you're passionate about something, you be passionate all the way. And I think, I don't know. I think it's, I don't know what I'm trying to say here anymore.
No, I love that.
But that's kind of like the mentality I try to take onto every project we do.
No, I love that so much. I think for myself personally as well, I'm in an office job and I know I absolutely shat on it, but I think it's very aligned to how I want to excel in the next like 5, 10, 15 years as well. I know that having a nice brand portfolio and metrics to actually back my own like talent or skill or works and projects as well is going to be immensely beneficial. So sometimes you have to be in that sort of phase in your life as well. And I think, balancing it How's that been?
Oh, it's been for me at the moment. It's been a bit tough. I just got in a relationship like a month ago.
We love that.
Yeah,
we love love.
Yeah, and I just realized like there like might not be enough hours in the day. Like there's a lot of things I want to do. Like my gym training's been slacking at the moment, and then obviously got to work like 9 to 5. And then like my sleep is a little bit lacking because, you know, it's like, oh, I want to, see some friends, meet some people, or just like work on some tracks just like in my own space. And it is a little bit tough, I know. So I'm trying to kind of like set what my priorities are at the moment. And I think like for me, it's like the two things that I like, well, I guess the three things that are most important is my girlfriend, work, and the music at the moment. So yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, time management is definitely, you see this firsthand. Time management is a big thing that I do struggle with. If I'm going to be candid about it. I probably work until like 3 a.m. every day because I'm like a night owl and it's kind of self-inflicted to a degree. But I kind of get a lot out of juggling multiple things at once because to me this isn't like a career necessarily. It also feels like a hobby and like something I love doing. So I'll finish like one project and then move on to the next one. And the day kind of looks like juggling 2 or 3. But yeah, just choosing the ones, like you said, priorities, choosing the things that you get the most out of in any given moment.
Definitely.
Trying to balance that.
Yeah, the perspective I always take is life is like a pie and everyone obviously has the 24 hours to divvy it up and a third of that is hopefully prioritize to sleep. And then if you are working 9 to 5 as well, that's like another third. So then it's like, how do you fit in 8 hours worth for like girlfriend, family, nutrition, gym, and just pursuing your passion as well. So yeah, it's an incredibly difficult thing to juggle. I think, for creatives as well, you obviously have that on the side because maybe it isn't creating as much income as you thought it would to begin with. So you do need to jump into 9 to 5 or go project to project, like which is just balance everything at once. So yeah, that's crazy. What's in the works, guys? I feel like I haven't caught up with you in a very long time. Like, are we able to disclose or have you got any exciting recaps or anything?
Let's go into the full suite. So next Friday, I'll admit I haven't done much promo, but I have an EP coming out. So it's the 4 singles I released and then 2 more songs people haven't heard. And accompanied by that is a full like short film, around 20 minutes, just like the whole EP sort of connected together a little bit. And then after that, I have a gig in Brunswick. And then after that, so the pipeline is another single as well. So yeah, that's
exciting stuff. I had an inkling. That's so exciting, man.
I'm in like the same boat as you. This is our baby, really.
Yeah.
I love this so much. I don't get proud of my work often, but like this EP is really cool, man. There's like 6 music videos. There's at least like 7 different styles that we put in each of them. I think it like really reflects your breadth of like diversity and also like something that I love about Quan that's like it translates to, you see it when you meet him, but also like in the videos I think it comes across too is your generosity with your energy is absolutely like it's unparalleled, man. So like I think about all the shit that he does over the course of that like 20 minutes. It's so much, but you committed to all of them. I don't know. This fucking guy, I'm going to get emotional.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Thank you, Felix.
Like couples therapy, man. So why do you love Felix? No, that's so sweet, guys. Like so excited as well. How did you two meet? I want to get into the crux of that.
What version of the story do we tell?
I think
family friendly, hey?
Yeah. I think we'll tell, like, I feel like I've told it a lot.
I feel like I've told it a lot.
Oh, wow. Do you want to lead and then I'll fill in like the gaps? Yeah.
So one of my good mates had like a housewarming party. We kind of like, I want to say we met in like a corner as like, it does happen, kind of gravitate towards the drinks at a party because I'm a bit of like a wallflower. And you come up, we start up a conversation and I mentioned that I'm a film student and Quan took the piss for about like the rest of the party, I'd say. He kept coming up to me and being like, hey, have you seen Avengers Endgame?
Oh, this is the dude. I remember that conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to fill in the blank after that?
And then, like Felix, much to his credit, he found it like even funnier every time. And like, I know I'm sort of the guy that kind of says a joke until it stops being funny.
And then it starts being funny again.
Yeah.
Like tenfold.
Yeah. And then there was a lot that happened that night. So we got, what happened? So we did happy birthday, but we had to whisper it because noise complaints. And then this guy fell over a table.
Yeah.
And
this is the part where I was like, do we tell this part?
Yeah.
Probably fine to tell. This guy who fell over the table, the first red flag happened when we entered the party, and within meeting him, within like 10 seconds, he was showing me like a Family Guy funny moments compilation. Not putting him on blast, we can cut this. But yeah, about like half an hour later, he'd flipped over a table and then like kind of started running around outside, up and down the street.
Yeah.
And it got real awkward real quick. And that's when you really started going hard on the Avengers joke. So do you guys come here often?
Yeah.
Yeah, that awkward moment needed to be punctuated. You did that pretty well. And then I want to say, like, we went our separate ways after the party. And I was kind of like, you know when you meet someone at a party and you're kind of like, that was the realest one. I don't know if I'm ever going to meet them again, but that was cool. Like the party friend. About 2 months later, I hit you up for like, we had a soundie pull out of a short film. I was like, oh, who do I know that's a soundie? Who do I know that's a soundie? I remember that you make music. So I kind of just like blind texted you, ended up working on it. And then we've done like 7 projects since. It's been a lot.
Yeah. It's been a lot.
Isn't that fucking incredible? I think, yeah, especially when you put yourself out there and you get to know people as well. Having that portfolio and having your name sort of float up in conversation is just so powerful. And the idea that you thought of Quan top of mind after that party as well, and because you presented yourself in a way that was like admirable or attractive as well. This is like how you guys have met, and I think I'm discovering that quite often as well. Like I would say I'm a quite bubbly and energetic and extroverted person, and the amount of like DMs and messages that you get because people start to consider you because you become top of mind. What was that all like? Like that's just an incredible sort of like full circle moment where it just happened by chance that you guys were at the same party and then you've reconnected and now you're working together. Like what a journey.
That's not lost on me, man. Like I said, I'm pretty wallflower, pretty introverted. I considered not going to the party, so this all came so close to not happening. Yeah, like we shot that film. You immediately slotted in. It was like a pretty tight knit group of friends, and Quan just came in and immediately just crushed it. Super nice dude. And then you hit me up like a couple of weeks, a month later about the first music video.
Yeah, like a week or so, because I remember like we talked about it on the day. It was sort of like that sort of push I was talking about, and I wanted to release these songs. And then at the time, I only knew like a hobbyist with a camcorder, and that was sort of the vibe I wanted to go with. And then I'm like, yeah, no, I know Felix. Yeah, let's do something. Let's say something up.
100%.
Which camera should I look at if I want to point at the camera?
Whatever.
This guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Artists, musicians, if you're courting a music video director, this guy had a treatment. This guy had a 3-page treatment with a mood board and like color palettes and like stuff to take from like cinematography. It impressed me so fucking much. Musicians, if you're courting a director, do that, because I had never had that before.
So
it was
good.
awesome.
Well done. Wait, that's so good. What the fuck? So you like fully wrote out a document of like what you needed,
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
It was like well graphically designed
Rate
too.
that.
Like he did not need to do all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, some things I wanted, and then I'm like, well, it's my first time, being in this environment. I just want like a good start, and then sent it off to Felix, and then we shot that first like promo video. It was a couple hours for like 1 minute like Instagram reel, but that was like a couple like the most fun hours of my life that year. It was just crazy. Like went from like eating, just like running around the city, just like taking cool shots. It's like, okay, light a cigarette here.
So many shots of cigarettes. So many shots of cigarettes.
You're going for the moody vibe.
Yeah.
I rate it. So you talk about how much fun you have now and everything, shooting content and producing music. Has it always been like that, or was there some sort of anxiety that you've held in the past, like from maybe people in high school judging you, parents as well? I think, we have this massive stigma and this massive tall poppy syndrome, where if you want to try and pursue something that's a little bit different, you do get cut back down a little bit. So I guess like, are there any experiences that jump out to you?
Bro, I have so much anxiety about that. I'm worried about like posting this Instagram like story of like me being here, because I feel like people are going to do that. But like, yeah, I think that's like a hurdle that anyone has to jump over, right? Because I don't know, why would you climb Everest and not plant the flag? You put in all the work, and like the cost of being a little bit annoying online could be that someone sees the work, connects with it. That's really cool. Please don't clip that and put that on a story, regardless. But yeah, no, I think that is definitely like a hurdle we have to overcome.
I was actually going to clip that. So I'll make sure I clip that one.
I think that was good.
That's incredible though. It's like, what you put in all this work behind the scenes and everything, and why not post it, you know? Like, why not have someone potentially come across it and be like, this is sick. Like, I want to work with this person.
Well, I was thinking about this on the way here. Like, the internet kind of makes all criticism so readily accessible. So I'm trying to think of like a music video director in the 80s. You probably get shit talked by like friends of friends, right? If you log onto the internet, all you have to do is put yourself out there and you'll get criticized.
Like, Instagram Reels is brutal.
Yeah.
I'm never like going in the comment section again. Like, it's so real.
What about you, Quan? I feel like, yeah, we've had this chat before, but do you feel like you've done more reflection from the point that we had that interview to now? Like, now you're actually pursuing it, you're like pretty balls deep in it, about to release an EP.
Yeah. I think it's something that I'm still sort of struggling with, and I kind of wanted to like ask you how like you sort of feel, you know, putting yourself out there. And it's funny you mentioned like the high school thing. Luckily so it was last night, and luckily like it was our 1 month anniversary with my girlfriend. So like I had an excuse. I wasn't like particularly looking for an excuse, but I was thinking, it's like, you know, like what if I don't go? People's like, oh my God, you say Quan's trying to be like a musician or something like that. And then like that sort of like fear is still in my mind as well. And like the fear of kind of just like annoying people just by posting too much. It's like, yeah, okay, like they'll be like, oh yeah, we get it, you make music now, things like that. And I kind of wanted to like see how you sort of like reframe your mindset and then sort of just be like confident in what you post, because like you do post great stuff.
Oh, thanks, appreciate it.
It's also like, if you don't mind me jumping in, it's really like personal, and you have like these like open, you're a great interviewer. Like I've seen a few of these, you're fucking good at what you do, and it requires some level of like emotional honesty and curiosity that you have to bring to each like interview. That can't come easily.
No. Oh God, how do I take this one? So now you flip the lens on me. So firstly, I think just surface level, like social media is incredible in the way that obviously you can connect with people that you meet out, or people from work and everything. I think the thing that keeps me posting as well is like, these people don't have a social obligation to me as well. Like, they don't have to follow me if I'm posting content. I can post what I want. It's like a free like interface and platform that I can use to present what I want as well. I totally understand the idea of like getting cancelled and, you know, getting hate and all those sorts of things. But I think at the end of the day, people can unfollow, people can block.
Yeah.
You don't have to tune in. There's even a mute function as well. If you don't want to make it awkward in person and you see me in person, you're like, oh fuck, I'm not following Jaden. Like, his content's been pissing me off recently. Hopefully not. But do you get what I mean? Like, there's that idea that if I don't resonate with this person's content, why am I following them as well?
Also, the content is not the connection to the person, right? I have friends who will give me shit about like films that I've made. They'll be like, I don't like that one. But because they told me in like a kind of like honest way, and they just kept engaging with me as a guy, it's like, oh yeah, you don't have to like everything I make.
No, not at all. And I think that feedback is great, and it's very much very much appreciated. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's like two sides to it, obviously, because obviously it's shit to just like run away from things. Like, I think the idea of blocking someone post like a breakup or post falling out as well is like very not like cowardly, but that option as well. Or like just ghosting people online. Like, that's a massive thing that people do. And I think there needs to be that sort of line where you address it and you say, hey, like, this isn't working for me, blah, 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 blah. Have that communication. I want to jump into that because I think in terms of like the emotional curiosity and having that like ability to facilitate conversations like this and be pretty emotionally honest. I had a massive falling out post high school, like pissed off a lot of people. And And for context, I was top of the world, school captain, doing really well in school, was very protected, I think, by teachers because you obviously have that like standpoint. And I knew that and was in a relationship, wasn't very like faithful, which I regret immensely. And I think because I was riding such a high in my life, I thought I could get away with anything. You almost have this like complex where you're like, yeah, I'm invincible. Like I could do anything. Doesn't really matter. And definitely got called out for it at the end of high school, and sort of found who like truly was on my side, who I had upset as well, and tried to fix those relationships and mend where possible. But because of that massive falling out, it meant that I was like super vulnerable as a person. And I had to put my true self out there. Like I couldn't hide behind the idea that you are a protected species. You have all these accolades that you can hide behind as well. So I think there was a lot of personal development there in terms of like, am I a really bad person? Do I need help? Do I need to go seek like therapy? Like that's where my head went as well, because I was just so distraught because I knew that I wasn't that type of person. But all the achievements and outcomes that were happening throughout that last year of high school led to me making stupid decisions. So lots of reflecting. I think it almost fast tracked my growth. Like a lot of people, they're like, you're not 22. Like you're not. And they think that I'm a lot older. Whether that's just like a point of conversation or not, I'm not too sure. But I think I get it often enough that there's some validity to it. Like people genuinely think that I can be mature, I can hold an honest conversation and go pretty deep with it as well. So that part, like I just don't care what people think of me anymore. Like I care in the sense that obviously I don't want to make any of those decisions or relive any of that in my life ever again. But I guess what's the worst that could happen? Like I've hit rock bottom. What's the worst that could happen now? Like I would just want to share my story. And I know that I've made mistakes in the past, but I've tried to rectify them and I've tried to be a better person by sharing my perspective, by interviewing other people and providing value through like podcasting and the reels that I make. Yeah.
Oh, thank you like very much for sharing.
No, it's all good.
It was really personal, but yeah.
No, like that speaks to like, because I see like failure as like an opportunity for growth. I'm not saying you'd failed at all, but you've certainly grown like from that. That's big.
No, thanks. I think, I'm trying to be a bit more like candid about it because I know it's this just like burning feeling in the back of my head and my heart as well. Like when I put myself out there online, I don't want to come across as this like savior and this like hero, like he's amazing, incredible, doing all these sorts of things. Like there is obviously a shit side to me and like much like there is to everyone else, but it's like being so candid and open to it and admitting your faults as well. Like I think there's so much power in that. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's like, I think when you said that, you know, like the emotional curiosity and like being open to other people, like that starts with yourself, being open to yourself, being curious about yourself. So yeah, thanks for sharing, Jaden.
Thanks, appreciate it. Where do we go from here, guys? I think, on that, oh my God, dropped my pen. On that note of like finding your people, it's shit to hear that people will like, do they comment or do they just approach you in person about like the criticisms and stuff?
Oh no, when I say like people have given me negative feedback on my films, it's in like the kindest way possible. Like these are people I'll see every week and they'll just give me a little bit of shit for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I think like what was actually harder to get past is like the initial, like, I don't know if you had this with music or like you with podcasting, right? But when you like make the decision like, okay, I'm doing films, I'm committing myself to this. This is what I do now. This is like my passion. This is what I love. And then there's like some reactions like, really? You? It's pretty competitive, man. It's like kind of hard to do. That's like harder, I think, like that initial step towards, I don't know, did you guys feel that at all in your like environment when you were starting out?
I think so. I think it was kind of like people just saw me like as, you know, guy with a commerce degree who also does music, but like I kind of want to switch that narrative to like the guy who does music and the commerce degree is like just what I studied basically. But I think like initially it was out of like concern, I guess. People like, oh yeah, like how far do you want to go with this? You know, like it's like, yeah, like Felix said, like it's tough. So that was something hard for me to get over. And I think like, you know, we had that talk about balance just like earlier. I think the way that I can sort of like slowly change my own narrative is sort of like achieving like some sort of like balance between the two things, and then slowly like pushing things forward. So I think that's where I'm at.
100%. I remember my ex-partner sat me down and she's like, so, you know, what are you actually going to do post-uni? And like I hadn't figured it out. I didn't have like an internship under my under my belt, and I didn't have a grad job lined up. And for the most part, I definitely wanted to travel as well. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I think it's like a relatable experience. And I think in the commerce degree as well, it's so normalized that, oh, you haven't interned at the Big Four. Like what are you doing? Sort of thing. And the idea of traveling was so appealing to me, I guess, because post high school, COVID happened and just wasn't able to travel. And there was just this burning desire for me to like go out there and see the world. I think that was so important for me. And I was I am working retail, and I was doing that the social media stuff and sort of building a portfolio. And she was like, oh, like, I think you should like start to consider, you know, like what you actually want to do, you know, like you're getting a bit older, like you're getting to that pinnacle sort of thing. So that was like a really bitter pill to swallow, because this is like someone that's meant to be my number one teammate, my supporter and everything. And no hate to her at all, like still love her to bits. Just different values, I think. And I think we grow up in a society that pushes this funnel as well. It's like primary school, high school, uni, graduate, go into the workforce. And at what point do you get a chance to really reflect on, hey, I really enjoy making music. I really enjoy filmmaking. I really enjoy podcasting. Like it's something that I just really want to try and do. And like at what point do we get a chance to reflect back on it? Like I think I could walk into an office any day. And that might sound extremely naive or arrogant, but I genuinely think I could. Like the amount of grad roles that get posted up each year and each mid-year as well is just insane. Like you could probably just walk in and be fine. Like you'd fit seamlessly.
Yeah. And it's like no time wasted really. Like just to touch on that, I think one of the big pushes for me last year was one of my friends. He was like having this dilemma. He finished his master's in teaching, and then one of his older friends, I think he's like 50 or something, he sat him down and he said like, Nick, like you're really young now. Like if you don't do this now and give it a try, like you may never know that it will work. And then, so he's a big like director for like musical theatre. He's like worked with the Melbourne Theatre Company. And then just like last month with the Melbourne Comedy Festival, he directed a show that was sold out basically every night that had like three extra sessions towards the end of it. And then, so that was like a big push for me as well, personally.
I love that. And I think we never get to see other people do it as well. Like when we are in this environment, you're growing up with the same people who have their own sort of trajectories planned it out for them. It's hard to see like what else you could do as well. What's your experience been like with it, Felix?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool seeing people like branch off into different stuff. I'm getting like a little bit older now. Just like 24, it's not that old. In my like wizened years, this like old oak tree of a guy.
Are you going to pull out 30 or something? I was like, no way.
Yeah, I think that there's like a lot of people who are kind of like finding their niches because I'm going to film school at the moment. And there's a lot of people who are kind of like finding different things that they love doing within that field. So like with Nick with theatre, how he's like his stuff is great, man. Like, and he's doing film at the same time, like still exploring new stuff. Like, I don't know. I've got a lot of people that I'm close to who are like kind of discovering new aspects of themselves, new loves within that. Myself, I think as well, I'm like constantly changing. Like we're doing music videos for the first time, really. Started with you, and I've always wanted to do this since I was a kid, right? And then we've gone from that to documentaries to, I don't know what I'm going to do after I graduate, bring it back to that. But yeah, I kind of like I don't know, there seems to be a bit of a fluidity, I guess, with like everyone in that community film, because I can only really speak to film and a bit of music. But
I think the idea of like that inner kid as well has been something that I've reflected on quite deeply and heavily this year, like that inner desire for me to pick up a camera in year 6 and be like, I want to do YouTube. So like it was just something that was just
Everyone had
completely,
that phase.
yeah, literally. Right? I think a lot of people go through that phase, and then like I reflect back on it, I'm like, God, you could not have done YouTube. But then it's like now I'm showing up and doing like talking head videos on Instagram. I'm hosting a podcast. I'm freelancing as well. So those creative desires were definitely like deep seated, and now they're starting to come out as well. And I think really powerful segment in my podcast with Ben Hargreaves. He said there are, oh God, I'm going to completely butcher it, but he said there are probably people in their like late 60s, 70s, 80s who are still working, have retired, and there's just this like creative endeavor that's still deep within them. Like we could have had some of the greatest creatives ever if they decided to do that, but because we're pigeonholed, or there's this expectation that we should go into high school, uni, grad job, like they don't discover that at all. And I think it's so scary, and it's really upsetting to see that. So it's like, why not use these years to like develop and try it, like give it a go as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think for me as well, I don't like exactly have a limit on myself, but when I just like think of the future, I like kind of see like two visions, and I think like I'm not unhappy with either of them. So that's kind of like where I'm at. What are they? One's just like kind of like just the music sort of thing, like just going world to world, country to country. We haven't discovered new worlds yet.
World to world? That would be sick.
Like open up a portal. Yeah. Just like country to country, like playing like small intimate venues, like nothing too big. And then the other one's just kind of like a really just simple home life, like just, working from home, have like a nice apartment, things like that. I'm not unhappy with either. Yeah.
Rate it. Felix?
Yikes.
It's hard, right?
Yeah, it is difficult.
I think I'm in your boat as well. I'm like, I haven't really thought too far ahead as well. And I think there were some jarring conversations with, particular people where they were like, I want to do this by this age. I want to have a family by this age, and those sorts of things. And
the age thing is nuts.
Yeah.
I know a guy who I love to pieces. On his whiteboard at home, he has youngest best director Oscar winner written on there. He's like 22. The record is like 29. He's got 7 years. I would drive myself crazy trying to accomplish that. Like my grandmother took up ukulele 2 years ago. And like learning that was so fucking sweet.
Yeah.
I think like when you kind of stop having the desire to learn new things and discover things, that's kind of when you start aging. And she is so lively. She is like a firecracker. She won't let you get a word in edgewise. She's in her 80s and she's got so much energy and passion. And I love that. I hope I'm like that when I'm that age. Setting a limit on things feels like constrictive.
I love that. I love the idea of, learning, and I'm still learning. I don't think we'll ever have like a cap on the amount that we can learn. Like I'm trying to read daily, even if that's just before I go to bed, or listening to podcasts and like really indulging in people who I admire and respect as well. But also fiction. I think I was in a very big like, I just read like nonfiction, I read self-help, that's it. But there's just something like really beautiful about reading fiction as well. I read like Murakami and everything, like so immersive. Yeah.
It's nice just like sinking into like 1960s Tokyo.
Yeah.
And just like, I'm a uni student here. Yeah.
Norwegian wood. Yeah. How good's that? No, that's the one I read, and apparently that's one of the more tame ones that he's got. Yeah. So I'm keen to read more, but it'll be good. Boys, let's talk about your projects and what's exciting. I think we like completely derailed, but I actually like where the conversation went. But what's in store?
So we've got an EP, and we've got a short film accompanying that EP. That comes out Friday. I've been a bit slack on the promo, so sorry about that. But it's sort of me and Felix's, like, as he said earlier, baby. Sounds a bit weird putting it like that, but it is like our just like, passion project.
That's probably a better way to say it.
Congrats, guys. Well, no, actually congrats, but yeah.
But it's a lot. It's spanned like so many locations in Melbourne. It's spanned like to Tokyo as well. But it's been like really good. It started from just like a 1 minute Instagram reel for 2 songs, and they've been fleshed out into like music videos. All these music videos, they've been released, but then the EP will sort of like change it a little bit slightly to make it like one free flowing narrative. And then
we got like 3 more videos. They're kind of exclusive to the EP film as well. So we dropped Fight For Me, which is like a boxing video. So you got to get in his acting bag a bit. That was pretty fucking cool. Real One, which is like filmed in Japan and Luna Park in my bedroom, you know, all these exotic locations. And then
especially that last one.
Yeah, no one's seen that. That's crazy. And then Overstay, which is like filmed in the airport. And then, yeah, there's like a lot of stuff we're playing with. And this new one, new territory too. So we got some animation in there, got some weird kind of like mixed media stuff. Just like exploring with new formats. Like
super talented. Both of you. Fucking love it. Yeah, that's
Can't
so
take
cool.
compliments.
Yeah, literally. Well, I'll try and have this episode out before then. Maybe I'll post it Wednesday and hopefully we'll get some shares. Yeah. There's your promo.
Thank you, Jordan.
Any weird looks when you've been filming and stuff?
Any stories? Do you reckon?
So I think like the airport, like, I was really shy. Like it's an airport, there's security guards everywhere. Felix is just like, so I was on the bottom floor. Felix is like 3 stories up with a camcorder, and it's like, I'm just like doing like a shitty dad dance. That was like the sort of vibe. And
I'm like the night before doing choreo in a car park, trying to get some moves down for the video.
Yeah.
I reckon he kind of nailed it, to be fair, considering we had like 2 hours.
He's like, just make it even worse. I'm like, yeah, okay, gotcha. And then it's like one thing to like practice, but like, I think the idea is like, like kind of slouchy dad. And then that's kind of like hard to pull off in a like airport. And it's like so many people walking around. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just roll with it. Felix has to get on a flight in like 2 hours. Let's do it. Yeah.
Where were you off to?
Melbourne. I was going home.
Okay, so
out for 6
where were you
days.
guys?
We were in Tokyo, and he came to visit me for the week. We had some fun. Yeah, filmed a lot as well. Yeah,
so good. I think with that as well, something that helps me when I'm filming content as well. Not perfect at all, but you're never going to see these people ever.
Right.
Ever again. Literally, like not a single fuck is given. And one moment that really encapsulated it for me was I went to Sydney to film an ultra marathon as well. Bought this big fucking camera with me, like big camera, or big for my standards. I don't know what you film on, but it was just roaming around with that and set up tripods everywhere. And there was just like thousands of people like running their marathon and everything, because I don't know, like people, the last thing they could think of is you. They're too busy thinking about themselves as well. Like these people have to run marathons, or they're either supporting families. What's another camera going to do? Like it doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
I think we're pretty desensitized to cameras at this point.
Yeah.
Like we have a short film that's not very good.
Stop saying that. Stop putting a ceiling.
This one's true.
Oh, okay.
So we shot a short film with my friend Ruben. Quan's in it. He's got a few lines. He makes his acting debut in it. He's pretty funny. He read the stage direction instead of his dialogue in the script.
Quan walks over there.
Well, it was like an emotional direction. He's supposed to he's supposed to like react like he's not happy to hear something, but he reads out.
Oh, it's like staunch and steady, surprised to hear this.
We just had to keep it in there because it's too funny. But we had this scene where we had like, it's a silly film. Basically 10 tradies are in like the back of a van, and they operate under like a cover business where like they pose as tradies, but they're actually hitmen. So they abduct someone on the side of a road next to a train station, like right next to where the train passes by. And Ruben, the co-director, was like, get a camera inside the train and then film the abduction happening. So it's like 10 guys pile out of a van, grab somebody, lift them above their shoulders, and then pull him into the van. And I'm like, wow, okay, that's pretty audacious. Sure, let's try it. And then we had the footage from inside the train, and I was so worried they were going to call the cops or someone was going to be like freaked out, because it's pretty confronting.
Literally.
And we see the footage from inside the train, and people are watching and kind of going, like, no one cared.
No. Another day goes by, hey?
Yeah.
Literally. So, yeah, I think that's incredible advice in terms of, like, if you want to pursue content creation, if you want to do something a little bit different, go about it. because it's just a moment in your life. Like, go say hi to that person, you know, all the cliche things, right? Never know where it could end up leading you. Like, you two met at a party because you guys just started talking to each other. Like, that's a small thing, but it can be extrapolated to pulling out a camera in public, vlogging, those sorts of things. Yeah.
I think like when you like touch on that point, it's like you're never going to see these people again. I've seen like so many people filming in Melbourne. It's like I just can't remember their face. It's like if I see them on the street, I'm like, oh my God, you're the guy that filmed that funny TikTok and it was really embarrassing. It's like, I'm not going to remember that. Except there was this one time though, like in New York, I just landed and then I started getting these guys reels. And he's like this like fashion clout guy and like does a lot of ironic things. And then I would like start walking through Chinatown and then I see him the next day. I'm like, oh my God, that's you. I said hi, and then I walked off. So like that's the only exception.
Exactly right. And I think maybe we catastrophize it as well because it's so easy for us to write like a hate comment or like you were saying, you know, Instagram reels horrible, right? People can just like hide behind a keyboard and be a blank profile picture and just say like, fuck, that was so shit. Like, you're a shit human, blah, 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 blah. But when would they ever approach you and say that in person? Like, when would they ever come up to you and be like, I don't like your content as well? I don't think like anyone has the guts to, and if they do, they have some deep-seated hate.
Yeah. It's like their issue like from that point onwards. Yeah.
100%. Literally.
I know it's like something I struggle not to think about because like I'm definitely very self-conscious, but I feel like that's like the worst thing for any kind of creative industry or for in the arts. Like, you don't have the space to do that. Do you guys struggle with that? Because I'm constantly like, I'm on this podcast right now and I'm like, I'm not worthy. I shouldn't be here. There's someone else. My friend Will should be on this couch, man. He's so cool.
Let's get Will on. No, I'm joking. No, not to invalidate you. Nah. Well, I think with that as well, I know an incredible person by the name of Anthony, and he posts a lot about like storytelling and just how to present yourself as like a better person and sharing your authentic stories and everything. Like, it's a really niche sort of topic, but very important, I think. Where like we never want to share our own stories as well. And he touched on it a bit because when he did, he would get hate comments from people and they'd say like, oh, like, you're not old enough to start talking about your own personal traumas and experiences, like, get some life experience, kid. Definitely wasn't quote unquote like that, but it was that sort of demeanor and that vibe as well. And I guess his comeback to that, or his outlook on it, is we have all lived different walks of life. Like, we all have different experiences. Not everyone is going to experience the exact same thing, despite going through primary school, high school, uni, or whatever it is that you do post then. But we all have a story to share as well. That's why I think Life with Lamb is so beautiful, in the sense that I get so many different people from walks of life just coming on and talking about their story, because there's so much power in sharing that as well. Yeah.
No, I really like you just have like so like many diverse people, and it's just great. Like so many like backstories I wouldn't even think of, right? I remember, I forgot his name, the ballerina.
Yeah, Jackson.
Yeah. And that was just like just really just interesting. Yeah.
Right. And he recently won his IFBB Pro card, which is just like, what the
Crazy,
fuck? Literally,
crazy.
right? But you look at him and you're like, oh, he's this jacked bodybuilder. Like, he's always been like that. But his story is just so unique. Like, grew up doing ballet, grew up with such like deep anger and just resentment for things. But that was because he didn't know how to articulate his emotions, and he would act out in school, and he was a very violent character, but has now channeled it into something that he's super passionate about and is obviously killing it. Like, who wins their IFBB Pro card? You know,
crazy.
Like, only a select few people do.
Yeah. Good stuff.
They're just in awe. Shout out Jackson. But no, I think it's absolutely incredible, and there's so much like power in sharing stories. Like, if I hadn't reached out to these people and started chatting to them, I probably would be sitting in an office right now. You know, and that's not something that resonated with me, but it probably would have been the thing that I went down, because that would have been all I knew, because all the people around me in uni were going into an office, going to uni clubs, you know, having internships, lining all these sorts of things up. That's all I knew, because that was my environment. And I think being able to just break free from it, in a sense of like interviewing other people, collating a lot of different like experiences, memories, and stories, like that's been able to mold my perception of what is actually achievable, because these people have such different stories, but they've all landed in a place where they're really passionate about what they do. Yeah.
You take like bits and bobs of their success as well, and like just like interpret your own way, like in your own way, and then just apply it to your life.
100%. There was like such a period of time where I just stopped uploading on Life with Lamb, and that was because it wasn't like, oh, I've like found myself sort of thing, but I was starting to find like footing in different areas as well. And I think it took a while for me to want to get back into podcasting, because in a selfish way, it was like, well, I've collated so many stories and experiences. Why do I need to share them now? Sort of thing, like in like a weirdly non-arrogant, sort of arrogant way.
Do you feel like that made you like, was there a turning point where you were like, oh, I've had all these stories and experiences. Do I feel like an obligation to share them?
Great question. I think it was an outlet for me to validate that, hey, there are different walks of life. And I think when I landed like a social media role, freelancing role, and potentially on the cards like an agency role as well, it was like, do I need to continue sharing these stories as well? But in honor of the community and other people that are going through this, like I definitely want to share more stories as well. Like it's not fair that like now that I found it, like, oh, I'll just fuck off and go do my own thing. Like this should be an ever growing and continuous thing, because there are so many young adults and even adults who are out there just like sitting at, I always like go back to the office job, but that's just because I don't resonate with that as well. Like I want to be on the go, like talking to people and everything, but maybe doing a job or doing something that they completely hate and they just don't have an outlet for it and they don't know where they want to take their lives. Like these are the people that need to hear these stories as well and find something that they want to do. Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of like a common sentiment at the moment. Just like sort of, just like not to like keep revisiting points, but I hear it a lot. So yeah, thanks, Jaden. And you're great at it as well. So yeah, just keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate it. Well, I guess, geez, we've been chatting for an hour with a few breaks. Yep.
That went by so quick.
Yeah, it went by so quick.
Oh my God.
Time flies when you're having fun, hey? As the cliche goes. Do you boys have anything to leave on? I think we've unpacked quite a bit in terms of the creative space and what's in store for you guys as a duo and as your own individuals as well. Like, is there something that you want to leave on for the listeners or even just like promotion as well?
I want to promote him. Like he's great. He's like fantastic. He's so dedicated to the craft. Like he knows his shit. Like dedicated to a fault sometimes like I have to tell him like stop like working. But Felix has been like one of my closest friends, like, and it's crazy because like I only met him last year. So shout out Felix. Keep an eye on his stuff. Like I think we've got to touch on it in the podcast, but he's working on a documentary at the moment about the flying spaghetti monster. And
do my promo for me, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we spoke about that before. Sorry, I wasn't on air, but that's crazy.
Yeah. Do you want me to speak on it?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So the thing we're really excited about right now is working on a documentary about this couple in Pyrennealec, which is a rural town near Colac. A lot of people don't know where Pyrennealec is because it's got a population of maybe like 30 or something. It's really remote.
What?
It's in the middle of nowhere. If you drive down to the Great Ocean Road, you might pass this blue church and wonder who lives inside that church. The answer is Pirate Priestess Angela Carter and Captain Colin Cupcakes Carter. Those are their official titles. So they are the first couple in the world to get married under Pastafarianism. They are the first owners of a Pastafarian church. This could be a whole podcast in itself. It's going to be a whole documentary.
Yeah.
But these guys are like the most inspirational people. They should be on this podcast, man. Holy
You want
shit.
to hook me up?
Genuinely,
I
yeah.
could uncover their story. We could partner it when the doco comes out and then do a debrief.
I think they're fascinating, man. They're like,
okay.
I want them to adopt me. I think
Wow.
they're fucking beautiful people.
Yeah.
But yeah, that documentary is going to be kind of about their unconventional love story. It's cool. We got some miniatures. It's going to be a really silly, fun documentary, kind of about like two people who love to joke so much. They've dedicated a massive chunk of their lives to it. And I think that's so admirable.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great.
It's great.
Yeah,
It's great.
like I've seen the trailer. Like
When is it out?
Oh God, man. We it's like technically a uni project, but we're more passionate about it than that. We want to spend some time on it outside.
Well, so you do the project and then
yeah,
go
we're going
off
to finish it for an assessment for like a mark in like August. But expect it sometime in like January. No months.
No
Yeah,
months.
2025,
Yeah, okay.
sometime
Yeah, okay.
2025.
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah, and I forgot what I was going
You've
to
got
say.
more EPs dropping this year.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. So I have my first solo EP. Then I have a gig in Brunswick Retreat Hotel June 16th. So keep an eye out on the Instagram.
Pencil that in. Yeah.
Yeah. Then after that, I have another song. I'll start promoting that, and then basically 2 more EPs on the way and some singles. But yeah, so keep an eye out.
I just think it's fascinating that the two of you have just collided in terms of like your worlds. 2 different people have just met and you're creating this incredible space as well. So thank you very much for hopping on. I appreciate you both for sharing your insights into what it's like being a creative, navigating that space as well. And also I think the eating shit period as well. Like you have to sort of make ends meet at the end of the day and you can't just drop everything to go all in. I think, like you said, it's probably like a safer route or a bit more like feasible to have something on the side and slowly chip away to it. But like I said,
had parents in the music industry, unfortunately.
Exactly. And I think that exposure to different worlds is so refreshing as well. So I implore any listeners to, I guess, push themselves to find people that also have similar interests as well, because it just pushes you into like different horizons, which is what you want.
Yeah, I think if you can find somebody who matches your energy and they love what they do as much as you do, you want to do that shit with them for the rest of your life.
Rate it.
That wasn't about anyone in particular.
The bromance, I'm like third wheeling here, man. Well, be sure to follow @Life with Lamb podcast and we'll catch you in the next episode.